Hi, my name is Seth Kellam. I am the youth director at the Jewish Community Center of Asheville. As youth director, I run such programs as the After School program, which is from grades K through 5th. And then we have two youth groups. We have our Gesher group, which is Hebrew for bridge. That's our middle schoolers. And we have a chapter of BBYO, which in the past was known as B'nai B'rith Youth Organization, and that is for our high schoolers.
As the director of the Jewish Community Center After School program, how have you all addressed bullies, victims, bystanders, and advocates when we begin to speak of common language?
I think that the good news is that we're all getting great at identifying those things. The Center for Cultural Diversity last year had a great installation that we put up at the JCC, as well as a DVD. And child care professionals are getting better and better at recognizing the behavior traits of those three different characters within this framework. But we struggled in an after-school setting and in a camp setting. Then what? We have identified very often we've intervened before there was an opportunity for any sort of violence or hurt feelings, but that wasn't really feeling like enough. And what was clear was that we really needed to alter the atmosphere of the classroom, and I'll just say classroom as an individual, as a generic setting sort of thing. We really needed to change the atmosphere. More and more, there are articles and writings about teaching children empathy, and so it occurred to us that that was where we would hit gold. Was creating activities and programming where that development of empathy was present. So it became, for us, less ultimately about the consequences. The consequences we kept. We have a set of consequences that some are strictures from the state, and some are policies at the JCC. But we started developing tools, and I am certainly not an inventor. I am a thief, and so we started stealing some really great tools. One tool that we use specifically for the JCC, but one can alter for any program, after school, camp, classroom setting, is what we call the mitzvah tree. And the mitzvah tree has been around for eons. What mitzvah is a good deed. Mitzvot are good deeds. Put some thought into an act of loving kindness, gemilut chasadim, right? Acts of loving kindness, and that they have observed over the course of the day. They then write it down, or a counselor or group leader helps them write it down, and then they present it in front of the group. And so there's lots of layers of positivity, of joy that stem from that. Obviously, the person who is being recognized for having done a great job feels great. That's obvious, and that's wonderful, and they get to put their leaf up on the tree. And through a child's eye, there's infinite amount of leaves that can be put on a tree. But the empathetic aspect is that of the person who takes the time to observe and then articulate the good deed that they see over the course of the day. And it does need to be consistent and on a daily basis. And what we found was more and more kids were raising their hand to give out the leaves more than receiving, the desire to receive these mitzvah leaves. And it really it charged that group every day. So every day, the group would go out, and right now I'm picturing camp in my head. because obviously that's the longer day, the longer experience, and certainly the broader range of emotions as it is so long. They would go out, and they would go out in search for good deeds that others were doing. And they filled their mind space with that rather than bullying status tactic, because they were finding the joy and the pride in themselves for being able to recognize the positivity in somebody else. And the mitzvah tree can be done in lots of different ways. A close friend of mine does appreciation chains, I believe. And so you write out the positive deed that somebody did, and then at the end of the session, summer, year, you can see in length, you can actually measure the good deeds. But again, it's an exercise in empathy. And more we're discovering that empathy is something to be developed, to be exercised. It's a muscle, and we can grow it.